Christmas Eve, 2023. My mother's hands were trembling around her wineglass when she leaned across the table, grabbed my wrist so hard her nails dug into my skin, and whispered 6 words that shattered my entire childhood. "I killed my baby brother, sweetheart." I laughed, nervous, confused, waiting for the punchline. She wasn't laughing. Her eyes, those same gentle eyes that read me bedtime stories, that cried at my wedding, that baked cookies every Sunday for 40 years, were hollow, empty, haunted. "I was 12 years old," she said, her voice cracking. "2 men came to take him. They said they'd sell him if my stepfather didn't pay. So I ran to the window and I pushed Tommy out, 4 floors down." The room went silent. My aunt dropped her fork. My uncle stared at the floor. And then my 4-year-old grandma, frail, shaking, but with steel in her voice, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "She did what she had to do. She saved the rest of us that night." In that moment, the woman who sang me lullabies became a stranger. The family I thought I knew became a cult of silence. And baby Tommy, the uncle I never knew existed, became a ghost I couldn't stop searching for. This is the story my family swore would die with them. But I'm done protecting their secrets. Before we continue with the story, hit that subscribe button right now. This is going to get darker, and you'll want to see where this goes. Drop a comment and tell me, what time is it where you are, and where in the world are you watching from? I want to know I'm not alone in this. All right, let's go back to 1968, Chicago, a 4th-floor apartment. And the night my mother became someone I'll never fully understand. Growing up, my mom was magic. She was the woman who woke up at 5 a.m. to braid my hair before school, who never missed a single soccer game even when she worked double shifts, who cried harder than I did at my high school graduation. Marie was the kind of mother other kids wished they had, soft-spoken, patient, the type who'd sit with you for hours if you needed to talk, who made hot chocolate from scratch when you had a bad day, who knew exactly how to fold you into a hug that made the world feel safe again. Every Sunday, we went to St. Michael's Church. She'd sit in the same pew, hands folded, lips moving in silent prayer. I used to wonder what she prayed for. Forgiveness, maybe. I just didn't know for what. Our house smelled like cinnamon and vanilla year-round. She baked obsessively. Chocolate chip cookies, lemon bars, apple pie from her grandmother's recipe. The kitchen was her sanctuary. I'd watch her roll dough with this faraway look in her eyes, like she was somewhere else entirely. She never explained where. The photo albums told a strange story I didn't understand until it was too late. Every picture, from the 1,960 seconds to the early 70 seconds, showed the same 4 people. My mom as a little girl, Grandma Rosanna, my mom's 2 older siblings, 4 faces, always 4, lined up in front of the Chicago apartment building, standing by the Christmas tree, sitting on the front stoop in summer. I used to flip through those albums as a kid, tracing the faces with my finger. Something felt wrong. There was space in those photos, literal empty space, like someone had been cut out. Sometimes you could see the edge of a blanket, a tiny hand at the corner of a frame, a shadow that didn't match the people standing there. "Mom, who's missing?" I asked her once when I was maybe 10 years old. She closed the album so fast it made a slapping sound. "No one, baby. Just us 4. But I could see it in her eyes. The lie. The weight. I didn't push. I trusted her. I thought I knew her. Looking back now, there was always one empty space in every picture. A gap where a 5th person should have been. A baby-sized hole no one ever explained. And when I finally learned the truth, I realized my entire childhood had been built on top of a grave with no name. Christmas 2023 started like every other. The tree was lit. Grandma Rosanna sat in her usual chair by the window. My aunt was slicing ham in the kitchen. Everything was normal until my mom stood up in the middle of dinner, walked to the corner of the room, and started sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Not crying, sobbing, the kind that sounds like drowning. "Mom?" I went to her, put my hand on her shoulder. She flinched like I'd burned her. "I can still hear him crying on the way down," she whispered. Over and over. "I can still hear him. I can still hear him." "Hear who?" "Mom." "What are you talking about?" She turned to me, mascara streaking down her face, and the words came out in pieces. "Broken. raw. I was 12. It was night. Your grandma was working. Vinny was gone. He owed them money. A lot of money. And then they came. Who came? 2 men. Big. Long coats. They knocked so hard the door shook. I answered because I didn't know what else to do. I was holding Tommy. He was only 11 months old. He was laughing. He didn't know. Her voice cracked. They said, "We're taking the kid till Vinny pays." Just like that. Like he was a piece of furniture. I begged them. I told them we'd get the money. They laughed. One of them reached for him. I pulled away. I ran. I couldn't breathe. I ran to the living room window. It was open. No screen. 4th floor. I looked down at the street and I thought, if they take him, I'll never see him again. They'll sell him, or worse. So I lifted him up, and I let go. The room went silent. My aunt froze in the doorway. Grandma Rosanna didn't move. There was a sound, my mom whispered. A thud, like something heavy hitting concrete, and then he stopped crying. He just stopped. She looked at me with eyes I didn't recognize. The men stared at me. They didn't say anything. They just left. The police came. Everyone said it was an accident, that he fell while playing, but he didn't fall. I pushed him. I killed my baby brother so they couldn't take him. My hands were shaking. My voice barely worked. "Mom, what was his name?" She closed her eyes. Tears ran down her cheeks. "Tommy. Thomas Anthony." We weren't allowed to say it again after that night. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. By sunrise, I was in my car driving to Grandma Rosanna's house on the south side. She still lived alone in the same brick building where it happened. 4th floor, same apartment. She opened the door before I could knock, like she'd been waiting. "You're here about Tommy," she said. Not a question. A statement. "Grandma, please tell me Mom was confused. The dementia. Please tell me it didn't happen." She stepped aside and let me in, poured 2 cups of coffee like we were discussing the weather, sat down across from me at the kitchen table and looked me straight in the eye. "It happened exactly the way she told you." My stomach dropped. The night it happened, I came home from work and found police everywhere. Marie was on the floor, rocking back and forth. The window was still open. Your uncle's body was already gone. They told me it was an accident. I didn't correct them. Why not? Because Vincent owed $8,000 to people who don't forgive debts. Because those men were going to take that baby and we'd never see him again. Because your mother did what I couldn't. She took a sip of coffee. Calm. Cold. We told everyone it was Sid's. Crib death. Tragic but natural. That same week, I went through every photo album with scissors and cut Tommy out. Every single picture. His face. His little hands. Gone. We altered the baptism records at St. Michael's. We buried him as baby boy Moretti. No name. No headstone. Nothing. I felt sick. We made a pact that night. The 4 of us who were left. We would never speak his name again. Never mention he existed. He became a ghost we all agreed to forget. How could you do that? He was your son. Her face didn't change. No tears. No remorse. 2 men were going to sell that baby or worse. Your mother made sure they left with nothing. She was 12 years old and braver than any of us. She saved the rest of the family that night. I stood up. I couldn't sit there anymore. Grandma Rosanna grabbed my hand. Her grip was strong, desperate. "You will never speak of this outside the family. Do you understand me? Never. Promise me." I pulled my hand away. "I can't promise that." Her eyes went dark. "Then you're choosing him over all of us." I walked out without looking back. 2 days later, I went back to my mom's house when she was at a doctor's appointment. I told myself I was looking for proof she was lying, that dementia had invented the whole thing. But deep down, I knew I was looking for Tommy. The attic smelled like dust and old cardboard, boxes stacked to the ceiling, Christmas decorations, tax records, baby clothes that belonged to me. And then, shoved in the far corner under a pile of blankets, a shoebox with no label. I opened it. The first thing I saw were the photos. Dozens of them. Family pictures from the 1,960 seconds. And every single one had a hole. Not torn. Cut. Precise scissor lines where a baby should have been. You could see the outline, the empty space in someone's arms, the gap in the family portrait, a blanket with no child. Over and over, someone had taken the time to erase him from every memory. My hands were shaking. Underneath the photos was a small white envelope. The paper was yellowed and fragile, written on the front in faded ink, T.A.M. Forgiven. I opened it. Inside was a lock of hair, soft, brown, baby hair. Tommy's hair. I couldn't breathe. I put it down like it was burning me. Next, I found a folded piece of paper. Official. City of Chicago seal at the top. Police report dated October 1968. Incident type, accidental death. Victim, male infant, 11 months. Cause, fall from fourth floor window. Notes. Unattended child, no witnesses, window had no screen. Case closed. No investigation, no questions, just closed. At the bottom of the box was a receipt. Cemetery services, Lincoln Park Memorial, Baby Boy Moretti, burial plot 47C, no headstone requested. I sat there on the attic floor surrounded by the pieces of a life that had been erased on purpose. A baby who was loved enough to keep a lock of his hair, but not enough to say his name. A child who died because the adults around him made terrible choices and then spent 50 years pretending he never existed. I looked at the photos again. All those holes. All those empty spaces where Tommy should have been. They didn't just bury him. They deleted him, cut him out, rewrote history so he was never born. And I was the first person in over 50 years to say his name out loud and mean it. 3 weeks later, I got a text from my aunt. Family dinner at Grandma Rosanna's. Everyone would be there. I should come. We needed to talk. I knew what it was. But I went anyway. When I walked in, they were all waiting. My mom, grandma, 2 aunts, 3 uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in years, all of them sitting in the living room like a jury. My Uncle Mark stood up first. "We need you to stop." "Stop what?" "This, digging up ancient history, asking questions. You're torturing your mother. She's sick. She doesn't need you making it worse." My Aunt Laura jumped in. "It was a different time. You don't understand what it was like back then. The neighborhood, the people involved. She was a child. She killed a baby," I said. The room went silent. My mom started crying. Grandma Rosanna put a hand on her shoulder. "She saved the family," my cousin Anthony said. His voice was sharp, angry. "Those men were going to take Tommy and sell him, or worse. She did what she had to do. She pushed him out a window. To protect the rest of us," my aunt was yelling now. "Your mom, her siblings. If those men took Tommy and Vincent still didn't pay, they'd come back for the others. She made an impossible choice, and she's lived with it every day since, and now you're punishing her for it." I looked around the room. Every single person was staring at me like I was the problem, like I was the one who'd done something wrong. "Tommy deserved better than this," I said quietly. My Uncle Mark stepped closer. "If you keep this up, we'll have to choose. Between you and her. And we're choosing her." I looked at my mom. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Grandma Rosanna. She was stone-faced. I looked at the rest of them. Every single person in that room had known the truth for decades, and every single one of them chose silence, chose to pretend Tommy never existed, chose to protect the person who killed him instead of honoring the child who died. They did it 50 years ago, and they were doing it again right now. "Then I guess you've made your choice," I said. I walked out. No one followed me. I didn't tell anyone what I was planning. I just started saving. Every spare dollar, every paycheck. I skipped dinners out, canceled subscriptions, worked extra hours. For 6 months, I saved in secret until I had enough. $2,000 for a granite headstone. I called the monument company in April, told them exactly what I wanted. They asked if I needed to coordinate with other family members. I said no, just me. The engraving was simple. Thomas Anthony Moretti, beloved son and brother, 1967, 1968, finally, home. When they told me the installation date, I took the day off work. I didn't sleep the night before. I kept thinking about Tommy lying in that unmarked grave for 56 years. No name, no acknowledgement, just forgotten grass. I got to Lincoln Park Memorial at sunrise. The air was cold, the sky was pink and gold. I was the only person there. The workers had already installed it. There it was, gray granite, clean lines. his name carved deep into the stone, where it could never be erased again. I stood there staring at it. Thomas Anthony Moretti. Real, permanent, proof. I'd brought flowers, white roses. I laid them at the base of the headstone and knelt down in the wet grass. I reached out and traced his name with my fingers. The letters were smooth and cold, and then I said it out loud. Thomas Anthony Moretti. My voice cracked. Tommy, your name is Tommy, and you mattered. You existed. You were loved. I stayed there for an hour, talking to him, telling him about the family he never got to know, apologizing for the decades of silence, promising him I'd never let them erase him again. Before I left, I took a photo. The headstone, the flowers, his name in the morning light. I looked at that photo on my phone for a long time. It was the first proof Tommy had ever existed outside of a hidden shoebox and a family's guilty silence. The first time in 56 years that someone had said his name in public, and meant it. I sent the photo to no one. I didn't post it online. I just saved it. Because this wasn't for them. This was for Tommy. And for me. I sent the message 2 weeks later, group text to the entire family. I'm going to Lincoln Park Memorial on Saturday at 10 a.m. Plot 47C. For closure. I hope you'll come. They all showed up. My mom, Grandma, Rosanna, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. They thought I was finally ready to apologize, to let it go, to fall in line. I watched them walk across the cemetery lawn toward me. And then they saw it. The headstone. My mom stopped walking. Her hand went to her mouth. Grandma Rosanna's face went white. What did you do? My aunt whispered. I stood at the foot of the grave and looked at all of them. Tommy was born in February 1967. He died in October 1968. He was 11 months old. His full name was Thomas Anthony Moretti. Stop, my mom said. Her voice was shaking. He liked to laugh. He had brown hair. Someone loved him enough to keep a lock of it in an envelope, but no one loved him enough to say his name for 56 years. You had no right, Grandma Rosanna screamed. She was shaking, furious. No right to do this. My mom collapsed. Just dropped to her knees in the grass, sobbing. My aunt ran to her. You're cruel, my cousin said. You're punishing her for surviving. My Uncle Mark grabbed my arm. You need to leave. Now. I pulled away from him. He had a name, I said. My voice was steady, calm. He had a right to be remembered. He had a right to exist, and none of you ever gave him that. You erased him. You cut him out of photos. You buried him with no marker. You made him a ghost. He was collateral damage, my uncle yelled. He was a baby. My mom was still on the ground crying. Grandma Rosanna was shouting something I couldn't hear. My aunts were yelling at me to apologize. To take it back. To remove the headstone. I looked at all of them one last time. I'm done protecting your secrets. I turned and walked away. They screamed behind me, begged me to come back, threatened me, called me a traitor. I didn't turn around. I just kept walking, and for the first time in months, I felt light. I blocked every number that night. My mom, Grandma Rosanna, my aunts, my uncles, all of them. Deleted the group chat, turned off notifications. For the first time in my life, I chose silence on my own terms. 2 months later I moved. New city, new apartment, small, quiet. Far enough away that I couldn't accidentally run into them at the grocery store or church. I packed light, left most of the old photos behind, took only one thing from the past, a framed picture of Tommy's headstone. I put it on my desk where I could see it every day. The nightmares stopped. The ones where I heard a baby crying and couldn't find him. The ones where I opened photo albums and every face was cut out. The ones where I stood at a grave with no name and screamed into the dirt. 3 months of silence passed. Then one night my phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. The voicemail notification appeared. I almost deleted it. But something made me listen. It was my mom. Her voice was broken, shaking. I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve to talk to you, but I need you to know. You were right. About everything. I see his face every night. I hear him crying. I've been seeing a therapist and she asked me what I would say to Tommy if I could. I didn't have an answer. I still don't. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just need to know you're okay. The message ended. I sat there staring at my phone for 20 minutes. I didn't call back, but I saved the voicemail. Every December, I drive back to Lincoln Park Memorial. I bring white roses. I sit on the grass next to Tommy's headstone, and I read him the birthday card I write every year. I tell him about my life, about the things he missed, about how the truth finally came out. Last December, I arrived at sunrise like always, but this time there were already flowers at the grave, fresh ones, white carnations. I looked up. My younger cousin was standing there, the one who'd been silent at Grandma's house during the intervention. She was crying. "I needed to meet him too," she said quietly. "I'm so sorry I didn't stand with you that day. You were right. He deserved better than what they did." We sat together at Tommy's grave for an hour. Didn't say much. Didn't need to. When we left, she hugged me. "You're not alone in this anymore. I sit in my apartment now. Morning light coming through the window. Coffee in my hand. The framed photo of Tommy's headstone right there on my desk. Thomas Anthony Moretti, beloved son and brother, finally home. My phone sits next to it. Mom's voicemail still saved. I listen to it sometimes. Not because I've forgiven her. I haven't. Maybe I never will. But I understand that 12-year-old girl was put in an impossible situation by adults who failed her. That doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't bring Tommy back. But it helps me sleep at night. Do I forgive her? No. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I've made peace with never having all the answers. Some secrets don't deserve to stay buried. Tommy deserved a name. I gave him one. And in doing that, I finally gave myself peace. His story isn't just mine to carry anymore. By telling you, I'm giving him witnesses, people who will remember his name even after I'm gone. Tommy's story is over, but mine is just beginning. If this video touched you, hit that like button, share it, subscribe, because some truths are too heavy to carry alone. Tell me in the comments, could you ever forgive a mother who did what mine did? I finally know my answer. What's yours?